Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Goals I View. I'm joined by Dom.
Hello, mate. You all right?
And Chris.
Evening, guys. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about two not very entertaining football matches that happened over Easter. We'll start at Woking. It was a 1-0 win. I believe you were there, Chris, were you?
Yes,
Good.
I was. The weather was nice.
Good.
It's about the highlight of it. No, look, I mean, it was it was kind of Eastleigh with a goal, really. When the Woking were a little bit more direct in it. It's a pretty, in the words of my 9-year-old who's with me, what a vile way to play football. He's when you're trying to learn to play football, that's not really what you want in watching. But equally, having said that, it's a game we would have lost earlier in the season when we had a softer underbelly. But we defended well, we defended strongly. Admittedly, they didn't have a shot on target, but they had more opportunities in the second half, and we took the chance in the first half. It was a good finish. Odd from the goalkeeper because I think he thought he was going to square it, so ended up kind of rooted to his line with
that was
6 yards out.
Yeah,
watching the highlights, Little just kept on running, didn't he?
I heard
ended up sort of giving him the goal kind of thing.
I heard like outside the foot, so I presumed it'd be just inside the box, outside the foot, top corner. When I watched it, it was like when you're playing Xbox and like the controller dies of the opposition, you just ran through and then you just put it. A lovely finish though.
Yeah,
that's quite a unique finish to put it like that.
Absolutely, it's the way to finish. But again, we didn't create lots of chances. But I mean, we did. But we had one good chance in injury time when Lemon Evans was in, and she'd either have squared it to right or scored, but the keeper saved it. But I mean, it was just a funny game. It was it wasn't a sort of game where you thought, oh, they're going to score, but they had a lot of possession, a lot of territory, a lot of throw-ins, a lot of set pieces. So it kind of felt like they might score, but you didn't really think they would. But if they had, you could probably say it was sort of coming. But equally, the fact they didn't score kind of shows. I mean, they were a very limited side. I mean,
they're limited, but they always give us plenty to think about, don't they? You just got to try and control.
And Torquay teams pre-Johnson, even a team at the start of the season would have crumbled. 100%. So
absolutely, and I think again that just the ability to kind of withstand it shows how far we've come. In terms of from where we were earlier in the season. I think obviously Monday makes it harder to get in the playoffs than it was before it, but that equally shows we've been shown up over this Easter weekend that just a couple of players unavailable with Wern out, and then Lapsley out. It's just the squad is so thin that as soon as you're playing, Johnson did okay at Woking, but then as soon as O'Connell has to come in, there's just these players are just not the same, close to the same level.
As soon as 2 players went out on Friday, that was our entire squad out, wasn't it? That was the whole squad playing a part that day, and of course Felix doesn't get a game, so it's
a weird signing.
You got players that you don't even use, and you've got such a small squad. You need everybody to contribute.
Was Felix on 18 months when he signed in the winter? Like, is he into the end of this season or the end of next season? Do we know?
Only to this season, surely.
I remember hearing that it was. I've heard that as well. I don't know if it's true, but you would have thought you'd be giving him a bit more game time. But he's one of those players I really don't know much about, apart from him playing at Yeovil, which I think is the only game he started. Yeah. But I mean, again, with that that right wing back role, come winger role, we've probably seen enough of O'Connell to know that he probably won't be here next year. So you thought you'd give him a go, but he doesn't even come on. This is when he's on the bench. He doesn't come on. So it's a very odd situation.
He did all right in midfield, but he's just too little. He gets pushed off the ball, and he doesn't look like a wing back either. So
it doesn't. I just
don't think he fits in at the moment.
I've got the article up for when he signed him. It doesn't say anything about his contract, so I wouldn't know.
They don't tend to these days, do they?
No. And you can't really rely on stuff like transfer market because it's very well played. So that one of them said that Lolos was on a 3-year. I'm like, I don't even think it's 2. So interesting. So
what we could have done with it was an easier win, because then we could save some energy, because it sounded like they really had to push hard second, and all the older players had to play 90 minutes, and you just wanted to save some energy.
90. That's it. And it's obviously Moxie. We'll go to the Easter game. I don't really want to speak too much about Eastleigh's performance. I feel like I've got it off my chest by now. Because
calm down a bit now, Sam.
Yeah, calm down a bit.
Eastleigh's performers.
I think it's more. It was more just the refs' absolute. Yeah, you can do this kind of attitude towards it. Like, you can fall down with a foot injury, and I will stop the game against the rules, because it's not, even though it's not a head injury. That's what got me. Look, Eastleigh. We've done it at Notts County when we had 10 men. Yeah, I'm not. It's just, I think it would frustrate me if I was a fan of theirs, because you're like, every year you're like, are you still going to do something this season? And then they're way in the bottom half, and it just it's horrible to watch.
I didn't like to see it. Yeah, it wasn't pretty, would it? I mean, it was horrible to watch. Every 50-50, wasn't it? And they went down. The referee indulged them a little bit.
That's the bit I hate, the diving side. One thing that the sort of Colvin went down every 70 minutes. One thing's a cramp. One thing's time wasting. One thing's been a bit. But when you're just cynical diving, that's the bit I didn't like. That's the bit that really irritated me.
I think the frustrating part of that is because, let's face it, we all do it when we're 1 over 10 minutes to go. McDonald going down, all that kind of stuff. There's no doubt that's the gamesmanship to it. Yeah. The bit I think about clubs like that I found frustrating is it's the game plan. The setup is to spoil, waste time, kick the ball 10 yards every free kick, throw the ball 10 yards every throw, and it's part of the game plan to disrupt. But look, having said that, and there's no doubt that was a key component of the game. But the reality is we had 4 very presentable chances,
and they almost won it as well, thanks to
absolutely. I mean, the lemon Everton had in the first half.
I just wish we'd stop doing the old keeper going down bit in the 70th minute. I just don't like it. I mean, if it's another team, you're probably saying. If it's another team, you're probably saying it's cheating, isn't it? And,
it's not what fans turn up to pay to games. We turn up to see, actually try and play game football. One thing's like, right, I want to play football long ball. That's fine. I want to play football with passing. That's different. But when it's just to not be anti-football, I'm not a fan of it. Whether it's my team, we all do it, but to that extent, I was actually like, it wasn't enjoyable.
The trouble is, when we do it, can you complain when another team?
No, you can't. But I don't think we're as. You're right. You're right. It'd be hypocritical for me to be like, Torquay never do that, because we have. That's why we've been more successful under Johnson over the last few years, because we've done that. But we don't.
I think the frustration absolutely. I think the frustration I have with it. I mean, I don't have any problem with the players getting frustrated with it and kind of getting involved in it, because try hard not to, because it's hard enough as a fan. When you're as a player, that must be hard. But the frustration was, I think you've got to find a way through it, and we did really. We had 4 really good chances. 11 here.
We played pretty well still. I thought we played pretty
volley
well
in the first half. And the 2 in the second half, the Asa Hall shot, free shot 8 yards out. When Lawrence got through, you've got to take one of those chances.
That first half chance for Connor was so frustrating, because he just wanted to take an age, didn't he? Take 2 touches, bang it in the corner. He didn't need. I don't know what he thought about it so long. It just seemed a simple process.
The header as well. The header just before half time, it kind of came. He would have seen it very late because it came out the back of the defender, but it kind of
that was
4 or 5 yards out, and he kind of reacted. It's one of those either goes in the corner or goes wide. But again,
that shocked him a little bit. That one, that shocked him. And Keelan's wasn't easy.
I think my thing about Lemon Ivans in that game was he got through him a couple of times, but he tries to do one too much. You've got a great shot on you. Just hit it. I know
you didn't do against Notts County.
It sounds
such finish.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I know it's like. I know it sounds. Look, I sit in my room talking about Torquay United. He plays for Torquay United. Not being like I know more about football, but just it's not like he doesn't have the ability. Against Notts County, as you say, Chris, he literally took one great touch and smashed it in. That's what he's capable of. He did against Barnet twice. So it's like if he had just done that, you can beat the keeper.
It's just overthinking it. I think you're not a natural striker. He sometimes wants to take some touches.
He wants the absolute perfect situation where the keeper's basically sat down so he can just think it over him. But sometimes you just have to hit it and get on target.
Yeah,
that's the difference. And I mean, we haven't got that 20 goals a season striker. If you look at Wrexham, Paul Mullins, banging.
If Lemon Ivans shot more, I generally think he would have a lot more. Oh, of course he have more. But if he just went right, Lemon Ivans, I know he's more of a number 10 anyway. But as it showed against Notts County, when you hit it, you've got a great striker on you. Just hit it more.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things.
But I think the Eastleigh game was kind of the game that you almost feared coming. It's felt very positive. We've been on the front foot whilst we're winning games. We're in a situation where we've just got to keep winning games. But as I said, with those couple of absentees and when Moxie limped off, it just kind of you looked at what was on there and you thought, and it was one of those games where we might have just nicked one. Lots of injury time.
It's the sort of game where you just want a couple of lively big attackers you can just chuck on. They'll nod something in or scrap something in for you, and Nolos did come.
I thought it was okay.
He got involved and he picked the ball up a few times.
I thought he'd hit the chance well. You say that, get it on target, and he did. The keeper was very good for Eastleigh.
But again, that's where those players just haven't produced this year. You look at O'Connell, and you look at Lawless. In those moments, they are key moments where they had to deliver. They didn't.
They've got to prove themselves in their games, haven't they? That's what Gary will be looking at and thinking, right, this is your chance. But pressure is on, but you got to do it, haven't you?
I think now, I mean, we're as a lot of Torquay fans, we're outsiders now. There's no pressure on it, but if I had to sit and go, right, we want to talk about playoff chances, you have to win at Grimsby. And we do better against those sort of teams. But for that, it's always going to be a bit too far. But yeah, you have to win on Saturday now. We just have to win every game still. But
I think as well, when I was talking to a friend of mine who's a Plymouth fan earlier, and he was, of course, I mean, they've got 2 games to go. They're in a good position, but their last 2 games are Wigan and MK Dons. So I think both clubs in a situation, I said to him, we've got to play Grimsby, Dagenham, Chesterfield, Stockport. If we get in the playoffs, we'll have deserved it because we'll have beaten everything that's coming before us and we'll have deserved it. And it's the same for them. If they end up with getting in the playoffs, those last 2 games, they'll deserve it. And if they don't, just like us, they'll probably have come up a bit short because where it really mattered in the big games, they've not been able to produce it. But I agree with what Gary said. It is almost like a playoff game on Saturday. If we don't win there, 7 games, 7 points to pick up in or more in 5 games.
The game is up. If we don't win on Saturday, I think
Notts County
have got Weymouth at home.
For me, there's 2 things over Easter that's it was Grimsby coming back to beat Stockport when Stockport got a man sent off. I kind of felt that was a big moment in their season where when they probably get in the playoffs, you're like, that's the moment we kind of clinched it because 1-0 down, even Notts County were losing, they're always going to come back into Kingston. We were winning. And you're going, hang on a minute, we've got a game now and we play them. This could be it. Them just coming back against a team as good as Stockport was like, and then the draw, in the pattern of the season, the last 7 or 8 games, that point against Eastleigh, you don't win every game. It was, we still got a point, but it just had to be.
But that's the problem of getting yourself in a situation where you've got to win every game. Because you're not going to win it. The chances of winning 8, 9 games in a row. We aren't Liverpool or Manchester City here. These are the chances of doing that. So you're going to have a game like that where you're going to, we didn't lose the game. We picked up, we still picked up. We've still got 13 points out of the last 15. But in the situation we've ended up putting ourselves in, it's not ultimately may not be enough.
You're counting on other teams slipping up all the time. And it's not always going to go your way, is it? You'll have good results and bad results, and that's the way it goes, isn't it?
And I think, to be honest, with the squad that we've had and kind of how thin it is, if that squad finishes 9th, say, as we are now, which is as high as we've been all season, probably pretty good.
That's a really good season. I think it's really respectable with the squad. We've had some great memories this season. It's just
we'll always have Holman at Yeovil. We'll always have that moment.
Yeah, home and away at Yeovil. Notts County was one of my favourite Torquay game I've ever seen, quite possibly. Yeovil was up there at home. So it's been good moments, but I just think it's a bit too far. And I'm hearing someone told it to me. I don't want to be one of those or rumour mills, but one went off on crutches. I think someone's read somewhere that he's gone back to Sunderland for treatment on ligament damage. No source on that at all, but it wouldn't surprise me. Moxie, hopefully he's back at the weekend, but he did twist something.
He pulled up, didn't he? I don't know what he did. He was running for a ball, so I was a little bit worried it was a hamstring.
I think it was when he cleared it, he kind of twisted it a bit. Maybe hopefully it's just like a twisted ankle. It'll be a few days.
It looked like lower limb, ankle. Hopefully 5 days will be enough to get it.
Hopefully it's not like a ligament thing.
I thought there was a classic moment when the ball went over and Omar was running back towards the goalkeeper, and I think half the crowd is expecting just to toe poke it, just to get a touch on it, put it in the corner.
You could feel the whole ground.
He was good when he came on. He won everything. But and then you've got Lapsey. No one ever knows what Torquay's injuries are, but
no, I mean Gary said after the Woking game he had a problem with his hip. They were hoping he was going to be fit on Monday, which clearly didn't happen. But hopefully that should therefore mean he'll be back on Saturday. But I mean, Lapsey and Ace are very much a holding midfield players not going to get to the playoffs.
I think Lapsey's more influential now. I think
we just didn't have enough aggression without Tom playing.
No, I think Hall doesn't quite have
fighting into tackles.
His first game back, I think Hall's a bit more of a kind of like creative midfielder. Maybe I don't know if it's since come back from his injuries or something, or maybe he's more.
He tried to get into the box, didn't he? But
I think he might even be slipping into the stage of his career where he's actually more suited to a centre back role for a few years. I don't know, but and you do a fantastic job there as he proved against I think Wrexham, but we'll see. you know, if all been playing the last 5 or 6 games, he would have scored that chance. His first game back though, wasn't it? So
yeah,
no,
he
second game
just
back.
He just didn't look like he was going to score it, did he? He just sort of toppled over. So,
but yeah, I think going forwards, we change it up. I've decided to change it. We'll do the Grimsby preview while we're here, and we'll end on the power rankings. We've kind of already done the Grimsby bit. They are in good form, aren't they? They're in good form.
Yeah, I was looking at their form, and especially their home form this season. They've like won 13 out of 19 games. So that is a tough. That's one of our toughest games of the season, isn't it?
Yeah.
And of course, they turned us over at Playmore. We can beat them, but we're going to have to play. You know,
the top scorer limped off on Monday though, so hopefully he'll be.
Hopefully, good to hear.
Yeah, McAtee limped off on Monday, so I don't know whether it'll be. You know, he'll be back on Monday or Saturday. I don't know, but I mean, it's relatively straightforward. Is we do have to go win these games now, and if we don't, it means proves not good enough.
We can have a go, Chris, can't we? We're not trying to eke out a draw.
If we've got in the playoffs, we have to go away to Wrexham most probably anyway. So we've got to be good enough to win, you know, if we're talking like that. So no, I think that covers it. Let's go into the power rankings. Thanks to all those who voted this week. Not many changes from last week. It's fair to say. So we're going the last 3 games and not counting the 2 Easter games we've discussed. So in 10th place, we've got Asa Hall. He's been okay. You know, he's been getting back up to form the last 2 games. And we've got Martin and Wright. I think Martin's been very solid. That yellow card.
I don't think he played very well on Monday, Martin.
The yellow card probably put a doubt in his mind, didn't it? Because I think he dived. I thought it was a dive at the time.
Yeah, he just doesn't look very assured for some reason. He looks like his confidence needs a bit.
He's not as confident as he was, but you know, you go for those stages in the season.
Yeah,
I think as well he's more comfortable in a 3, isn't he? Playing in a 4 like we were on Monday. I think he's better going forward than he's defensively, isn't he? So you kind of get. It felt a bit like when Liam Davis played in a 4. He always looked more comfortable in a 3 because in a left back in a 4, you've got to be able to defend, haven't you? And they're both quite offensive left backs in that sense. So
perhaps he's lost a bit of a rhythm in his game as well. Because
that injury as well.
Played every match. So he got out of the rhythm.
It'll be fine. It happens in seasons. And then Wright in 8th, I think he's been solid. I don't look at him and think, if we had a better striker, we would have won against DC, because he just didn't get the chances really and to get through 90 minutes.
He had a few sniffs, didn't he? Some headers.
He did well that flick on that. It was a good cross by Wynter, and he's got it on target. We want it more in the corner, but you can't ask for much more really.
There was a lot from the feed off. I mean, Eastleigh did defend quite well, didn't they? I think they were tougher in defence than I'd hoped they'd be. I was hoping there'd be a few more gaps to exploit, but they did battle it out.
And I think it's frustrating. And the Notts County game, which was this is based on as well, he was absolutely superb, right? So he's in 8th. And then going into the mid-table, we've kind of got the defensive course. We've got Lewis, Moxie, and Wynter. All 3 of them, just you know what you're getting. We say the same every week. Just really good.
All 3 were very good at Woking.
Yes.
Moxie, I'd had Moxie's man of the match. It's just little moments where balls get played over the top where he's able to kind of take it on his foot, take a second and play the right ball.
It's just that class, isn't it? Yeah.
Very well. So
I've never seen Ben Wynter push forward as much as against East.
Yeah, it was nice to see it. It was nice to see.
He was in the penalty area quite a few times. He's not the calmest when he gets up there, but he certainly wanted to get involved. He almost had a few sniffs, didn't he? And then he also gave the ball away a couple of times. He had a bit of a mixed game at times.
Yeah,
but he had plenty of effort.
And he slips, unfortunately, and then that led to the McDonald save on the 2v1, didn't it?
Yeah.
But so we've got them for Lewis. Again, I thought it was really solid. So
just hoping to see a bit more Joe up the other end from a set piece. Perhaps.
Yeah, I agree. First away clean sheet, Woking as well.
I was good to tell that. So Dom gave me that on Friday. I was impressed with that.
Yeah, good old Dom.
I know. I had to look back through the season. I was thinking there must have been one, but there hasn't been since that dull Altrincham game last season. When nothing mattered.
I remember that. I'd never watched it, but yeah. And then going to 4th, we've got Lemon Evans. He was obviously we know superb. He was against Notts County. He had moments as we discussed earlier, but it's just shoot more, mate. You've got the finish, but at the end of the day, they're footballers, and it's a lot harder than that. So I appreciate that, but still, just I would like to see him shoot more. As simple as that, because he's got it in him. just overconfident.
He's got 11 goals, hasn't he? He's missed
exactly.
His sitters.
You're going to miss sitters, though.
15, 20.
Exactly, you're going to miss sitters. I don't mind that. It's just getting in the right chances, and he makes his own chances a lot as well. But at the end of the day, if they were consistent doing it all the time, they wouldn't be playing for Torquay. So we've just got to realise that. So,
that's a fair point.
That's a point.
So cliche in there, isn't it?
Going into the top three, McDonald in third again. That save against Eastleigh was brilliant. Like, I think in real time, it doesn't look quite as impressive as I remember it on the video almost, but it's just how he's going one way. It's sort of pinged off on his foot. It's just like, what a save! Like, what a keeper!
We wouldn't want to lose that, would we? God, losing 1-0 to those sloggers.
No,
God,
and it felt like it was going to happen.
That would have been painful.
Yeah, and then we've got Duke McKenna in second. He's very lively. I think he kept the second half going. Obviously, a few of his crosses didn't exactly lead to where he probably wanted, but I think the difference between him and O'Connell could actually get in those positions.
I had a conversation with Tony next to me about him, actually, because Tony was like, oh, he's clear man of the match. I said, yeah, he had a good game. He frustrated me at times.
Yeah.
A lot of times he wants to get the ball and do something really good with it, like a 40-yard pass. He really wants to show how good he is and do something special. When you just want him to just pass it nice and neat,
get it out there,
keep it easy. Yeah, that's it. But he was all around the pitch, wasn't he? Trying to make something happen. He was left, right. He set Asa up for his chance. He
got
really
whack in the face, which wasn't even a foul. The only head injury in the bloody game, and it didn't even.
He got an elbow, didn't he?
Elbow, yeah. And
it was right down in front of me, and it was as well. I mean, I don't think he meant to do it, in fairness, but he kind of, as he turned, he kind of stuck an arm out, and it hit him square in the nose. You could see that, but the blood pouring down his shirt would probably have told you that as well. You would have thought, but.
And then in first, we've got Armani Little. Bit of frustrating game for him. I think he got a bit wrapped emotionally into it. Lovely. I loved how he took out their right winger though. Didn't get booked for it, but I love how he took out their winger.
And those two moments, the Martin tackle, which was borderline a foul that he got booked for, and then about 5 minutes later, Little just went straight through because he knew he was away and he just walloped him, which is a booking all day long. And then he doesn't get booked.
And then he got booked for consistent foul then afterwards. But I think it just highlights when Little or no others don't quite have that masterclass of a game. They're still trying, it just doesn't quite work. How reliant we're on there being absolutely fantastic. He still, put a great shift in. There wasn't a lot of space on into the box.
The Notts County game, there was a lot of space in between the lines, whereas against Eastleigh they compacted the back third.
We can't lean on those two all the time. Can we?
I think that's what it highlights. Sometimes we need players when them two are dropping like 6 or 7 out of 10s, even then you need someone who's just going to do that. They can't get 9, 10 out of 10s every game, so the cat's back. So
there he is. He's come back in. He's covered his weekly.
Has he got any comments on the game?
And to add Seb or not? No, nothing to say this week.
No cat puns to think
of. No, he's looking forward to the Chesterfield game so he can watch it on the telly, he said.
I was going to say a cat pun there, but it would get cut out by Sam anyway. He did have a tough game. He just didn't run his way. And I think he missed Tom in midfield. Tom does a lot of that work to get him the ball.
Donkey work, he does.
Yeah.
Gives him that chance to
make it happen. So. I think for me, I always love my football manager philosophy, because I'm, that's what qualifies me to speak about football. I like to have a creative midfielder and then like a battler, and like Little and Lapsey are the perfect example of that. So any last things you'd like to add before going to the Grimsby game?
Just that this will all feel different when we've won at Grimsby next week.
Yeah, I agree. Predictions?
Did I say 2-0?
I think originally I said 1-0 Grimsby, and 1-0 Torquay, and I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, so. I think it was when I predicted we're going to lose. It's a tough game, but equally the problem with trying to predict 9 games in a row is, of course, the way you play it. In some scenarios, a draw wouldn't be a bad result, though, would it? But I think it's a game we've got to go and win. But with us this season, we can go there and win. We can. If we turn up and play as well as we can, we can win there.
As you keep saying, Chris, first goal was crucial, wasn't it? Grimsby get it. Grimsby get it. And
if we don't take our chances in first half, it'll be another game like Halifax.
Yeah.
So
it is. Goals, and of course Gary alluded to it after the game on Monday. You know, of course, as I've said, you know, when you're starting games early and you're on the front foot and you're scoring early, and of course, the longer that kind of game goes, it gets frustrating.
And we didn't start particularly well.
No, we didn't get in there half for 20 minutes, did we?
It was the scrappy first half on Monday, wasn't it?
That's you.
Cut that out as well.
I mean, twice in the last 5 weeks, I forgot to count the ending. So the edited it when I'm absolutely shattered before work. So
I know, we haven't got any expletives coming out.
Yeah, I know. Luckily, we haven't said anything afterwards. Just like, I actually
I'll remember that now.
Yeah, I actually think that player's really bad, and I never think he should play again. But no, thanks all for watching. Thanks for joining me, you two. And the cat's got bored now and turned away from us. So I think
safe journey to whoever makes the trip. Long trip up north.
Up the Yellows, and we'll see you in a bit.